Well, this latest migrant boat tragedy comes as conflicts and emergencies around the world push the total number of displaced people to a new record high in 2022. 108 million people were forcibly displaced, largely as a result of persecution or conflict, according to the United Nations. That's a rise of 19 million people on the previous year. Around a third of that number are people who've crossed international borders to try to find safety. The conflict in Ukraine pushed 11 million people to seek shelter either internally or in another country, the fastest and largest movement of people since the Second World War. And more have been added to that 2022 total, with the recent conflict in Sudan forcing close to 2 million people to flee their homes. Well, let's talk now to Olga Sarrado, the global spokesperson for the United Nations Refugee Agency, the UNHCR. Olga, welcome. Good to see you. Have we learned no lessons from past refugee crises? This seems to be simply repeated decade after decade after decade.
That's it. So once more, 1 year more, and this has been the trend for the past 10 years, we see another record number, 110 million people forcibly displaced worldwide. That is 110 million lives shattered. This is 1 in 74 people in the world that have been forced to leave their homes, seeking safety, and just to save their lives. As you were mentioning, there are conflicts that are lasting longer, like the one in Ukraine, for instance, but we are also seeing new conflicts arising, like the one in Sudan, but also the impact of climate change that is mixing as well with persistent conflict that is driving people out from their homes.
National governments just kick the can down the road, though, don't we? I mean, just this week we see the EU paying Tunisia to deal with money for migrants. The UK, of course, trying to offshore its problem to Rwanda. Where is the global solution?
We see with concern some of these practices of externalizing the obligation that the countries have to protect those people that are fleeing wars and conflict and persecution. Also returns, pushbacks that are forcing people to take dangerous journeys to reach safety. We are seeing this with strong concern, but the solution is not there. The solution is in the root causes that are driving people out from their homes. Conflicts must end. Efforts must be made to find peace in these countries, so people don't have to take the decision to move. One of the evidences that our data is showing today in the report is that 70% of the people of refugees that are forced to flee their countries stay in neighboring countries. This is because the only thing they want is to return home as soon as there is peace. So we need to work on that, on the root causes of these conflicts, so people don't have to flee for their lives.
To be blunt, what is the United Nations doing to ease this refugee crisis? I mean, are you simply an organisation that is now reactive rather than proactive?
We are at the moment providing across the world with emergency humanitarian aid to those people that are forced to flee crossing the border, and that they arrive most of the time with almost nothing. But that's just a very quick solution. At the same time, we are working hand in hand with governments to make the asylum systems fair, more efficient, so people can quickly reach this protection and the safety that they are looking for, but also looking at solutions in the long term, also with the private sector and other partners. So those refugees that had to leave their homes can find stability, and they can live in dignity in the countries where they sought safety until they can come back, and they can also contribute to those communities that are welcoming them.
Olga, thank you very much for joining us. Olga Sarrado from the United Nations Refugee Agency, the UNHCR.